Hey, so the thing I don't like, well, one of the things I don't like when my hair is growing out, you guys tell me if the mic is working okay, I had to fix it earlier, is that I can't even have my desk fan on without it kind of blowing out a little bit. Like, like one of those wind commercials. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to fix it really quick. But it is now, my hair is, as you guys, if you haven't seen me in a while, have noticed now, it's longer than my eyebrows finally. So I have to go to Supercuts every 4 to 6 weeks and ask him to cut off the mullet that's growing in the back of my head, because the back grows longer than the front. And it's just, I tried to grow my hair back out once before, and this is about how far I got before I chopped it all back off. But I'm not going to do that this time. We're going to commit. So, hey everyone, I'm going to ramble for a couple minutes while we wait for some more people to get in here. And I have a couple things I wanted to talk about, which are reports or deposition transcripts attached to these arguments over, sorry, I'm like about to hiccup or something. These arguments over which experts and evidence should be included at trial. Of course, the parties have gone back and forth over the last few weeks about why they think certain things should be allowed or shouldn't be allowed. There is a hearing tomorrow, pre-trial conference. I really wanted to go, and Michelle, there's multiple Michelles that hang out in here, but Michelle, this one right here, Michelle, was trying to help me get out there for tomorrow, and I tried to make a last-ditch effort today, but unfortunately it just wasn't going to work out because I didn't know if I was going to be able to go ahead of time. And so by the time I asked to get off work tomorrow, the other appeal writer on my team was already going to be out. So we can't both be out at the same time, so unfortunately I couldn't make it work. But I am still working on going out to trial. I think everyone who donated to the fundraiser, I think I set the goal at 8,000. I think I'm at 6,600. Yeah, that's great. And I was able to withdraw some of that to make reservations for, like Line Saver, and I still have to book a place to stay and all that. But I'm going to set everything up for like 2 weeks, and then I don't know if the trial will go beyond 2 weeks. I know it's supposed to go for 4, but I think the judge is probably going to cut some shit out. So we'll see. If you want to donate to that trial fundraiser, the trial is not going to be televised. So the people who go there directly will report. Of course, the mainstream media will report, but you won't really get the full story there if all you read is the mainstream media. So if you go to the pinned link in the chat, you can support me going out to New York and staying there and reporting back on what's going on. But that's up to you. Of course, I don't ever ask for money from people who are struggling to cover their own bills. So please don't stretch it if you don't have the extra funds to give. But one of the things that will be helpful, though, is I saw a video today. Somebody sent me a video by Teresa, one of the people who's going out to the hearing tomorrow, who said there's going to be overflow rooms. And I had heard that there might be overflow rooms, but I wasn't sure. So that helps a little bit, because I'm still a little wary about getting into the room, because I don't even know how big the overflow rooms are. But now I know at least that it's not going to be like everybody's fighting for 15 seats. At least you can go to the overflow room. So I might pay for a Line Saver still, but not for like 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? Because they charge by the hour. So if I do get a Line Saver, I won't get a Line Saver for all night. You know what I mean? So that should help. All right. Anyways, Danny says, no kidding, the other pop culture channels report from the MSM, and it's such a different story. Yeah, if you don't take the time to look at the docket, you're going to miss a lot of stuff. So that sucks. Okay, so I have a couple things I want to talk about tonight. The first one is we'll go over this Wayfarer experts report, where she mentions that Blake Lively initiated 9 unscripted kisses to Justin Baldoni without permission during filming, which I thought was an important thing to talk about, because a large part, I try to say large and lot at the same time, is like okay. A large part of Blake Lively's complaints against Justin Baldoni in the New York Times was that he did unscripted kissing, which, as we know, if you have been watching my channel, is bullshit. The unscripted kissing that she has provided evidence of was a kiss on the forehead during a romantic dance scene between characters. And that is the stupidest thing in the world to complain about, if you ask me. But That's just my opinion. Maybe there are some people out there who are really offended by forehead kisses. I don't know. I don't know. It's not a thing that would piss me off too much, but you know, whatever. Give me one second. So, I want to give credit where credit is due. And I initially saw this on Reddit, which the Reddit subreddits around this case, I had to stop looking at entirely for a long time because it was just like not super healthy because there was a lot of posts about different creators on there. I was getting a lot of comments that were not necessarily either constructive or polite to me. So I stopped looking at it for a long time. But recently I got curious. I really wanted to know what people thought about some of the stuff that was going on lately. So I took a peek. So I want to give some credit here to, let's see. Pull this up. You guys can see that, right? I have two screens now, so I'm trying to make sure it goes up. Serenity413, who brought this to my attention, and we're going to read the report that this came from. But I liked the way that they put it. Said Blake Lively improvised kissing Justin Baldoni unscripted during the hospital scene for 8 separate takes and improvised kissing Justin again during the proposal scene. Also, I liked I'm not going to read their entire post. You should go read it if you want to. It says some other gems that we already knew. No intimacy coordinator was required during the birthing scene. Nonetheless, Lizzie met with Blake and Blake did not request one. But Wayfarer was supposed to mind read that Blake wanted one despite it not being required by SAG or requested by Blake. Blake and her 2 witnesses' stories about the dressing room incident with Heath are all different and inherently contradictory. So, yeah. Anyways, we're going to read through that whole report here. Just let me first pull up a short description of who Anne Fromholz is. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her last name right. Like I said, I don't look at Reddit around this case too much anymore. There are a couple of subreddits that I will cautiously peruse at my own discretion. That one has gotten, I would say that one's gotten better since I've looked at it. I do still, from time to time, I unfortunately, when I peek at it, I come across some like, this creator's doing this creator's doing that. And I'm like, I don't want to read comments about myself, so I'm going to avoid that. But it seems to have improved, and I do just want to make sure that I give credit to that subreddit. It ends with lawsuits. So if you want to go check that out, that's cool. All right. So, I mean, I'm sure most of you who have been around for a long time would probably agree that my mental health improved significantly after I stopped reading posts there. Like, that included me and like trying to argue with everybody who said I was a piece of shit. Because the truth is, like, there's always going to be people out there, especially if you do anything that's worth discussing or talking about or have any opinion that's worth discussing, you're going to have people out there who are going to say some weird shit about you. And I have some people who say some really weird shit about me, and most of them are on those like weird Blake Lively fan subreddits, which are disguised as something else. And people like saying, "Oh, I knew Lauren in high school," and then they go on to say something that makes it clear they did not go to my high school. And I'm just like, you're kind of insane right now if you're just like waiting for me to say something that you can comment on. Like, I feel like some of those people really are just waiting and waiting and waiting for a creator to say something so they can be like, "Oh my god, guys! Oh my god, guys, guess what these people said? They disagreed with us." It's like, come on, dude, get a life. You know what I mean? But you can't really do anything about it. You gotta just let people talk, no matter how salacious they are. Sometimes it's like nothing they say really has any credibility, and I know that, so it doesn't really matter. So, but Bruce says, "Guys, I say weird stuff about Lauren all the time, and she made me a mod." That's true. That's true. Okay. All right. So we're talking about the Wayfarer expert Anne Fromholz here. And here's the introduction. It says, Blake Lively moves to exclude defendant's rebuttal expert Anna Fromholz for many of the same reasons defendants moved to exclude Robbins, including lack of relevance, improper legal opinion, and lack of qualifications. In doing so, Lively conveniently ignores that the same principles should apply to Robbins, resulting in the exclusion of his testimony as well as Fromholz's. If the court grants defendant's motion to exclude the testimony of Blake Lively's workplace investigation expert Michael Robbins, it need not read any further. Okay. On the other hand, if the court allows Robbins to testify, defendant's expert Anne Fromholz should be permitted to provide rebuttal testimony. That makes sense to me. And I'm not going to read much more of this document about the exclusion because it gets into law stuff. And I can't explain like complex law to you guys. I can't provide you an explanation of the intricacies of like what these guys are talking about. What I can do is react to what the experts are saying and how a juror, I can tell you how a juror who sees stuff the way that I see it might react to what the experts are saying. So we're going to look at the report of Anne Fromholz and we're going to react to that. So let's go to that real quick. I always have to look and make sure I'm not pulling an Omar and I don't have like a mic muted or something. Give me 1 second. All right. I saw somebody made an interesting comment here. Hang on. Where was it? Somebody said something about Katie going tomorrow. I can't find the comment now, but I think Katie is going tomorrow. Carol is going tomorrow. I know Carol is. So I'll post a link to, if Carol decides to talk about this afterwards, I've asked if she wanted to come on and talk to me about it. So if she does, I'll post a link to that. If not, I'll post a link to everybody who is talking about it so you guys can find it, and then we'll discuss later on. But Carol, Katie I think they're definitely going. I think Teresa, who somebody sent me a video of Teresa today who said she was definitely going. I don't know if Clark is going. I don't know if Nag is going. I don't know if Little Girl Attorney is going. I would ask them, but it's hard sometimes, especially for those who are not, in the Northeast to get all the way out there, especially for one hearing. So, but I'll let you guys know tomorrow if I hear that anyone else is going, and I'll of course put links to everybody's stuff so that everybody has a place to listen to those who attended. I'm bummed out that I couldn't, but what time is it tomorrow? I think it's like 10 a.m., but it's not going to be, Irma's going. Cool. It's not going to be publicly accessible, so you're going to have to listen to the people who went to it. So we'll see. All right, so I skipped over the qualifications here. I don't think we really need to read through that, but this is the rebuttal report from expert witness and Fromholz, who is the Wayfarer party's expert. Okay. It says assignment. I have been retained by defendant Wayfarer Studios, Justin Baldoni, etc., principally to review and respond to the expert witness report prepared by Michael Robbins, informed by my knowledge, experience, and and training in the area of workplace investigations. Okay, so we got a summary of her opinions here, and I'm going to read through those with you guys. She says, my first opinion is that Robbins erred in his conclusion that Wayfarer failed in its obligation to conduct an investigation into concerns that Lively raised during the filming of It Ends With Us, the film, because Wayfarer, Baldoni, Heath, and others took immediate action to correct and prevent conduct about which Lively complained, and therefore an investigation would have been superfluous. And that seems to be common sense at this point, because you can see that even Lively herself has admitted that there were no problems after she made her quote-unquote complaints, which were grounded in something other than fact, but whatever. Michelle says Katie, without a crystal ball, is going. I mean, Katie and other Katie. Katie, I don't know her last name. Katie and KC. That's the one. Yeah. I don't know her last name. I was like, how do I say? Yeah. Anyways. Let's see. All the alleged inappropriate acts took place solely during the first phase of production, from May to June of 2023. During the production stoppage from June through November 2023, occasioned by guild strikes, Lively continued to communicate with Baldoni and did not make any complaints. On November 9th, the day the strikes ended and the studio was arranging to resume production, Lively, through counsel, sent Wayfarer a list of 17 demands to make the workplace safe for everyone, in her view, and demanded that Wayfarer, Baldoni, Heath, and others agree to the demands before she would return to production. The cover email attaching the demands stated Lively was willing to forgo a more formal HR process as long as the set is safe moving forward. The studio agreed to Lively's 17 demands. Lively convened an all-hands meeting at her home in New York City on January 4th, 2024, the day before production was set to resume, to air her grievances with Wayfarer, Baldoni, Heath, a rep from Sony, and others. None of the allegations of misconduct in the complaint took place during the second phase of production. Again, these corrective actions rendered an investigation superfluous. Okay, so before I go on to the next point, in what world is sitting there and being screamed at by Blake Lively's spouse not sufficient? Like, why would you need an investigation after that? It's pretty clear what their complaints were, whether they were reasonable or not, and I would say not. But it's pretty clear what they wanted and what their complaints were. So why would you need an investigation after that, especially when they used the specific language, forego a formal HR process? I think that sitting there and being screamed at by Ryan Reynolds is more than enough. Ambushed, by the way, because they had no idea what they were walking into. So I think that is, again, more than enough. So, all right. My second opinion is that Robbins, and again, if you guys don't remember, Robbins is Blake Lively's expert, aired in his conclusion that Wayfarer failed in its obligation to conduct an investigation because an investigation would have shown that a preponderance of the evidence did not support Lively's allegations. No shit. Okay. My third opinion is that Robbins aired in his conclusion that Wayfarer violated entertainment industry-specific intimacy protocols by failing to require an intimacy coordinator to be present on set during Phase 1, failing to have a signed nudity rider in place in Phase 1, and allegedly failing to have a closed set during the birthing scene. Okay. My fourth opinion is that Robbins aired in his conclusion that the entertainment industry is unique in that post-employment actions that affect a person's reputation can harm their future job prospects. Okay. Robbins aired in his conclusion that the entertainment industry is unique. Okay. Yeah, okay, so post-job actions. If somebody takes certain actions after a job, it can affect their reputation in the future. Okay, and this expert is saying that that is not unique to the entertainment industry, and I think she's probably correct. But most of the jurors who look at this, or the public, whoever, who look at this or hear this via report, they mostly go through 9 to 5s. So I could see why that point right there would fall on deaf ears to a jury. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm being picky at this point. But I think there are going to be a lot of regular New Yorkers who deal with 9 to 5s, but maybe there's a lot of contractors out there in New York, you know what I mean, who are gonna, maybe some of them will be on the jury, and maybe they'll think, you know what, that's not unique to the entertainment industry. You guys are dum-dums. I don't know. I'm being nitpicky right now. So she has a list of documents she referenced, but it's not listed here, so we're going to skip that. Factual background relevant to my opinions. And this is where we're going to get into some of the stuff that I think is really interesting, including the unscripted kissing part on Blake Lively's end. But give me 1 second here. All right. The following is a summary of the relevant evidence I have reviewed. Blake Lively and Jenny Slate complained about 3 comments by Justin Baldoni to women to which they took offense. The comments did not recur. So the expert here is not going to say whether or not they were brutally offensive, right? She's just saying, this is what happened. It did not recur. There was no reason to have any further action on that part. Okay. So 1, Lively alleged that Baldoni commented, "I like your outfit." Sorry. Her complaints don't get any less stupid in retrospect. Lively alleged that Baldoni commented, "I like your outfit, girl," in May 2023 during rehearsal, when, as she was wearing a low-cut dress with a jacket over it, she bent over and the jacket opened. Again, this is like so random and like such a this could be like a total fantasy scenario. Nobody witnessed that. Nobody has that on film. I don't know like where this is coming from other than she clearly wanted to make her case stronger. And because she said things like Baldoni initiated unscripted kissing and the only evidence she provided was a kiss on the forehead, you can't take her word for it. The jury is probably not going to take her word for it. So these comments like, I like your outfit, girl, and when she bends over, it's like, that's totally her account of events and not something that you can consider reliable fact. That's just my thought, but somebody says worst fanfic ever. That's definitely true. Bruce says I like your outfit, girl, on the soundboard. Oh, that's probably a good idea. All right. Anyways. Number 2, Lively testified that Baldoni said the scenes and characters' wardrobe needed to be sexy or hot. Lively testified that these statements did not make her uncomfortable. Why would they? Lively alleged that during filming of the bar scene on or about May 23rd, 2023, she was wearing a jacket over a onesie, a loose one-piece pajama made out of fleece. I can't believe in federal court we're wasting our time having to explain what a fucking onesie is, but here we are. She alleged that the jacket had been approved as wardrobe and that Baldoni, the film's director, said he wanted to see the onesie. Also approved wardrobe, which Baldoni, Slate, and Hassan Minhaj also were wearing without the coat over it. Okay. The jacket was approved as wardrobe, but Baldoni said he wanted to see the onesie without the jacket. Yeah, that's not a sexual harassment offense. What is your problem? I'm sorry. Jesus. Lively alleged that when she removed the coat and was wearing the onesie, Baldoni stated that she looked sexy, and when she told him that was not what she was going for, that she looked hot. Oh no. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say to that. Like, they were making a movie in which Sony, the distributor, who was largely responsible for making the film successful and somebody that Lively should want to work with, said they wanted more tasteful hot sex in the movie than they initially scripted on. Sony wanted the movie to be sexy. Blake Lively said sexy, sexy, sexy a million times, even about her goddamn shoes. And Baldoni saying the outfit without the jacket looked sexy was probably because she made it very explicitly clear that she was so insecure about her postpartum body, which I think she looked fine, by the way. If I didn't know she just had a baby, I wouldn't know she just had a baby. You know what I mean? I've read so much about how she had just had a baby. I wouldn't have thought a goddamn thing about it. She looked fine, but she was very insecure about it. They were clearly wanting more sex and sexiness in the movie, and she wanted to cover herself in all these big clothes and multiple pairs of pants and all that craziness. And he's trying to say, like, listen, you look great. You look great. It's fine. That's not sexual harassment. It's just trying to encourage somebody who has made it very clear to you multiple times that they are insecure about their looks, about their body, about how they look on camera in a scene that's supposed to be sexy. Like, just stop trying to punish the man for trying to help you through your insecurity when that's what was necessary. As your director, it was necessary for him to help you get through and do the job correctly. Like, what is your problem? Oh my God. And again, like, this is not I don't know legally if that would qualify as sexual harassment if you take all the context out of it, maybe, but the judge kind of disagreed with some of this stuff. And I'm just telling you what the jury is possibly going to think when they hear this stuff, right? And I think that there's going to be some people on the jury who see that and think, you're a nutbag, Blake. Like, what is wrong with you? You can't complain all the time about your postpartum body and try to change the filming schedule because you're so insecure about it and then be like, he said I look sexy. Oh my God. That's stupid. Don't be stupid. You're getting paid millions of dollars not to be fucking stupid. It's not a difficult or a tall task. Please. Lord. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Lively testified that she made clear to Baldoni at the time the above incident happened that his comment crossed the line. Lively further testified that Baldoni acknowledged that he made a mistake. Okay, well, he's a very apologetic man, clearly, from the messages that we've seen. She expressed some discomfort. He was apologetic. It never happened again. Oh no, pay me millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, please. poor people of New York, people who struggle to make a living, who are taking time out of your day and out of your jobs to make what, like $40 a day sitting on a jury so that you can barely feed yourself and your families, please rule that I need hundreds of millions of dollars. Me, the special blonde lady married to Deadpool. Like, what is wrong with you? This should not go to trial. This is idiotic to go to trial. But after she made those Instagram statements, how could she not? With any credibility, how could she not move forward to trial? Which is why I told Omar, like, I will bet anything to that man, other than money, because we're not supposed to bet money, that this will move forward to trial. Like, that's just stupid. Okay. Anyways. Okay, Lively testified that while discussing a sex scene in the draft script and her objection that it seemed pornographic. Okay. Lively testified that while discussing a sex scene in the draft script and her objection that it seemed pornographic to her, Baldoni told her that he was once addicted to pornography and thus understood it well. Now, this is something that I've been mildly, not even critical of, but kind of understanding of and like on the fence about, which is I probably wouldn't want to hear about my coworker's porn addiction on the one hand, right? But on the other hand, they were working on a sexually charged film where the sex scenes were important to the distributor and important to the movie's success. And so there's a gray area there where it's like, it's not totally out of pocket for him to mention that. Whereas, you know, in a normal job setting, if you worked at fucking Starbucks and your manager was like, hey, I used to be addicted to porn. And this one time I watched a porn video where a lady made a latte just like this and then they banged. I think that would be a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, this is just, I think we're blowing things out of proportion based on the environment that they were in. And she, I guess, told him that she had never seen pornography. And he's like, well, I was addicted to pornography. And so I know exactly what pornography is. And so, like, yeah, it's a little out of pocket. Okay, but it's not totally brutally terrible to the point where it's like sexual harassment. I think we're being a little bit ridiculous bringing this to federal court. I think it is something you could bring up in a complaint if you were just like, hey, please don't say stuff. I'm like really uncomfortable with this. Please don't say stuff like this again. And then he could say, I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. And then it doesn't happen again. Kind of like what happened here. Then I think we're all fine. We're all going to survive. We're all going to move on with our lives. Unless you feel like you need to be special and go to the New York Times and make sure everybody commiserates with you, which backfired tremendously, but it is what it is. Kim says, I came in at the wrong moment. I don't know what moment you came in on, but, all right. So, anyways, after Mr. Starbucks told his employee that he was addicted to porn, Lively alleged that on one occasion, Baldoni told her and her assistant that he was sexually abused in a previous relationship. Lively said, at the end of the story, Mr. Baldoni shared that it had caused him to re-examine his past. He then said, did I always ask for consent? No. Did I always listen when they said no? No. Mr. Baldoni claimed that this was an example of how we all have things from which we can learn and grow. So this here, first of all, it's coming from Blake Lively, which means we have to think there's a little bit of wiggle room for things not to have happened exactly how she's describing it. And the reason we have to think that way is because she lied in her complaints. So, but saying, did I always ask for consent? No, that could just be Justin Baldoni, who seems hypersensitive to like feminist issues and consent issues. And he seems to very much overthink kind of his interactions with women in a good way that make sure that he's never going to make them uncomfortable. But, and by that I mean women he's in a relationship with, like his wife, not like fucking Jenny Slate with her sexy pants or whatever. But did I always ask for consent? No. And let's be honest, most people, especially married people, they don't always ask explicitly for consent. Especially like young people who are having sex for the first time. Think about it. You're like at a party, you're in college, you're having sex for the first time. Do you think every young person in that situation asks for consent? No. And there are actually a lot of people, believe it or not, and I know this might be unpopular amongst some, very strict crowds. There are some people who would be turned off by that if you always ask for consent every step of the way. It's just like, hello, clearly I'm here and willing and want to hook up with you. Please stop pausing the action to be like, do you have my consent to whatever? It reminds me of, what is that? Was it Lily in How I Met Your Mother or was it Robin in How I Met Your Mother where the person kept asking, do I have your consent to do XYZ? And she finally got fed up with it. It was like, oh my God, shut up. And then she met some other guy in the hallway and was just like, okay, cool. So it kind of reminds me of that. We're like, explicitly asking for consent is every step of the way is sometimes a turn off for someone when they are clearly ready to go and they don't want to like make sex so mechanical and contractual. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to read the body language and intentions of your partner, and it sucks because, they're kind of making it out to sound like he intentionally moved forward with somebody who said, I don't want you to put yourself inside of me, when that's not what happened. So, and I hate that. I really hate that. Because he's clearly being hypercritical of himself here, which I've seen from him in his writings and in his speeches, in many other contexts, the way that he describes himself and his actions and his words in regards to the situation. I'm like, you're being way too hypercritical of yourself, man. He's being extremely careful and considerate of people's feelings, but also just way careful in a way that most people who interact with other human beings, they don't do that. And they don't want it to be that mechanical and scripted and awkward. You know what I mean? So it's that's my opinion. That's my view of the situation. So, of course, if a woman told him no and he proceeded to, go ahead, that would be a problem. But what I'm reading this as is, at one point, they weren't sure. And then he was just like, are you, what if we just, did XYZ? And then she said yes. And they, what I mean? So it's not a crime for sure, but it sounds like he's recognizing that he maybe, tried to ask after a boundary was already set at some point in the past. And then they, got together or hooked up. I don't know the details of his past in an intimate way, obviously, but it sounds like he was just being a guy, like a college age or a high school guy. And now he's being very critical of himself in a way that people are taking advantage of, because he's recognizing these signs to where he's trying to teach other people like, hey, I shouldn't have done that. Hey, it's not okay. Hey, make sure you don't push these boundaries when somebody says no the first time, or don't do anything that potentially could lead to a situation where somebody gets hurt. But then other people are taking advantage of his words and his relaying of his experience in a way that makes him look like a bad guy when he's really not. So that's just my extremely long rant about that point. So let me keep going just a second here. Seldom Aloof says, I always interpret it as, I did not verbally ask for consent, but not like I continued after they resisted. That sounds right to me. That sounds exactly right to me. And in this day and age, you have a lot of people who will disagree that you don't have to get extreme verbal consent every step of the way during sex, which is I'm sorry, but a lot of people who are two consenting people who are having sex with each other, they're not thinking, let me communicate before you touch my right breast. Let me communicate before you touch my left breast. Let me communicate before you kiss my belly button, and then so on and so forth. You know what I mean? It's not like that. So can we stop trying to make this into something it wasn't? They try to use these passages to make him out to look like a rapist. And that's not what it is. This man is just very hypersensitive to women's feelings. And he's very hypercritical of himself. And the way he's describing this to me sounds like he's kind of giving these people an opportunity to use it against him when really it was nothing nefarious. So, yeah. And I mean, no shame to anybody who likes to do the step-by-step consent thing. It's like, cool. Like, obviously, if I was... I won't touch anybody right now because yikes. But if I was with somebody and we were being intimate, I would, and they stopped and wanted to ask for consent every step of the way, I probably wouldn't be like, shut up, you know what I mean? But I would feel a little weird about it. I would be like, why are you doing this? Like, this is, you're kind of ruining the moment here. Can you stop asking me if I'm okay with this? Because I clearly am okay with it. You know what I mean? So like, it's very personal. So he says, whoa, Lauren, you're going way too fast. Sorry, dude. My bad. All right. Anyways, let's move on. I've been talking about this for way too long. Slate alleged that on or about May 18th, when she was wearing leather pants that they were part of wardrobe for a scene, Baldoni told her she looked sexy. Slate testified she responded that it's a good look. Wow. Sounds like something to not make a big deal out of, to be honest. Slate testified that after Baldoni told Lively she looked sexy, Slate told him that commenting on actors' bodies and their wardrobes is irrelevant or unnecessary or inappropriate or distracting, and we're just not doing this anymore. And if that's how she feels, she has every right to express that, right? Personally, I think I would disagree that it was irrelevant in this context because Sony made it very clear what they wanted with the movie. The book that the movie was based on made it very clear that sexiness was relevant, right? But, if she feels that way, she has every right to express that. Now, the problem comes with her, again, trying to double down on this was nefarious when it wasn't, when it was immediately corrected in the moment. Baldoni told Slate that he heard her concerns and that adjustments would be made. Slate responded, well received. Slate understood this to mean that adjustments would be made and said it was enough for her to focus and do her work. Okay. So, like, different strokes for different folks, I guess, is the saying that comes to mind. Like, he was trying to, as the director, in my view, reassure her that the wardrobe looked great on her. And she was like, we're not doing that anymore. Don't make comments like that. And he said, sorry, it won't happen again. Like, that to me is not... That to me, a comment to a third party, Jenny Slate, is not worth giving Blake Lively hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, what are you talking about? Okay. The above three comments were the only allegedly inappropriate comments Baldoni made during the production of the film, and they were all made during phase 1 of production. Although she did not testify about this, Lively's complaint filed with the CRD alleges that Baldoni acted inappropriately because he did not involve an intimacy coordinator in scenes that involved kissing, and that he improvised during scenes that involved kissing. Interesting. She didn't testify about that. She's going to have to. She's going to have to. Experienced and trained intimacy coordinator Lizzie Talbot, testified that the participation of an intimacy coordinator is not necessary for kissing scenes. Okay. Lively also alleged that Baldoni acted inappropriately during the filming of a slow dance scene. She alleged that he dragged his lips down her neck and said, "It smells so good." She also alleged that during the slow dance scene, Baldoni spoke to her out of character, and that this was inappropriate. She alleged that he was caressing her with his mouth, and we all saw that scene. And even though there are people out there who swear to God and double down on her version of events, it is clearly enough to make part of a jury think she's overblowing things and being ridiculous. In my view, I think she's full of shit. I watched that clip and I thought, why are you lying about what happened when there's video of it? And the truth is, as we came to find out, she didn't know that the audio was rolling. And so she got caught. And that was my initial problem with Blake Lively. It wasn't that I was paid by Wayfarer, as her lawyers tried to imply. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds tried to imply. My problem, as a former fan of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, was that she was dishonest about this scene and what happened in it, that the actual footage came out, the audio of it came out. He did not say what she claimed he said, and it was not in the context that she claimed it was. And also the unscripted kissing she claimed he took part in was a kiss on the forehead during that scene. And Blake Lively's evidence that she put out, like in the Hail Mary to save her case in the summary judgment stage, all she could come up with as far as footage to back up her claims, when she had every single bit of footage that happened on that set, was that dance scene, multiple angles of it. In fact, if I watch that dance scene one more time, I'm going to go outside and throw myself into the lake, because that's how stupid it is. I cannot tell you enough how ridiculous I think that it is that somebody who was subjected to romantic acting with their director / co-star in a movie is trying to get hundreds of $millions exploiting laws meant to protect everyday Americans who actually deal with sexual harassment in the workplace. I cannot tell you how much that annoys me. So, yeah. Okay. Cassidy says she got through over 5 years of video footage already. That was ridiculous. Her lawyers at one point claimed there was like 50,000 hours of footage or something. I was like, did they film this movie for 3 years? What are you talking about? Give me one sec. At least we know you can swim well. Great. Okay. Okay. The unsolicited opinion, thank you for the $5. Anyone else find it ironic that Blake's SH claims were tossed and we are going over Blake's BS during SA Awareness Month? Yeah, well, that was by design. By design, one of Blake's favorite trademark phrases there. Okay, so we're now getting to my favorite point in this report, or one of them at least. So we just talked about what she claimed during the dance scene. The next 2 points are the most important here. A video of the entire filming of the slow dance scene with the sound enhanced and with captions is available on YouTube. This video shows several things that contradict Lively's allegations. First, it shows that Baldoni did not drag his lips down Lively's neck. Right? Second, it shows that Baldoni's reference to how she smelled was in response to Lively apologizing for getting scented spray tan or body makeup on him. Third, it showed that Lively talked as much or more is definitely right, than Baldoni did during the filming of the scene, that speaking out of character, she suggested the scene should reflect how she and her husband interact by talking, and that she encouraged the kissing and near kissing, saying they needed to give the audience what they wanted. And that was the thing. It was never, I'm going to plant one on you, right? It was, the whole point of the scene was they were building up to this kiss between the couple, the main couple of the movie. And they wanted that tension there. They wanted to build up that tension there. So she knew that they were going to get really close. And she also agreed to that, as you can see in the footage. And my major problem with this is, and the expert puts it beautifully, is that the way she described it is obviously not how it happened. And that she misled people via this, blasting this through the New York Times, and misled people through her Instagram stories, etc., all the stuff that her PR people have put out, that Justin Baldoni was some kind of insane sexual predator, when obviously she lied about the way these things happened and just didn't think that she would get caught. And that's why I think it's so terrible that she went on talk shows, or she went to the Time Gala, the Time 100 Gala, and tried to self-appoint herself as a hero for women's rights and safety, when she actually didn't give a shit about that at all. Number one, not only did that not happen to her on this film, okay, based on what we've seen, the only evidence of her claims, whatever claims she made against Baldoni of actual physical misconduct, shows that what she's saying is not true. And second, like, her self-appointing as some kind of advocate and icon for women who need help with safety in the workplace just goes to show that she had nefarious and other motives to me, because of the way that she misled people with her commentary and with her statements to the New York Times, her story. She got caught, dude. Like, there's no other way to put it. She lied, she got caught, and now she's doubling down because that's the only thing she can do. If she doesn't, she's fucked. She'll always be remembered as the woman who lied about this kind of stuff. And that will be offensive to every woman who's ever actually worried about somebody believing her story. So, all right. We go to number 16. In addition, Lively initiated unchoreographed kissing on multiple occasions. She did so during the scene when Baldoni's character proposed to her character in the hospital room. So I remember that one. It was right after I think the Ryle, who was Justin Baldoni's character, his sister, who was Jenny Slate's character, gave birth. And then he proposed to Blake Lively's character and she kissed him. Apparently that was not scripted, right? And then we've all seen Wayfarer's footage of this hospital scene in the hallway. She initiated 8 unscripted kisses. 8 unscripted kisses during a scene in the hallway hospital. She initiated 1 kiss in the scene, and there were 8 takes. She added these kisses without discussion or express permission. So that's pretty clear cut. An example of what she's complaining about. So she complained that he did unscripted intimacy when she actually did that to him. And if you're going to go to the New York Times and blast your story out there and say you're a special advocate for women who should be elevated and be the new face of the Me Too movement or whatever by this new 47.1 California law, then you better be 100% truthful. If you're going to declare yourself the God Queen of women in the workplace, who's there to advocate for protections for all of us, you better not lie. You better tell the 100% whole truth about what happened. And she lied. She left this out. If you're going to say I was sexually harassed in the workplace because this man kissed me on the forehead during a dance scene, you better tell the whole truth. And she didn't, because she initiated kissing in these scenes, apparently, according to this expert, 9 times without permission, without discussion. And she thinks it's fine for her to do that, right? So is it impossible for Justin Baldoni, who, as we've seen through their text messages, was told by Blake Lively that he was safe, was convinced that they had a friendship, a safe relationship, for him to think that it was okay to, during a dance scene between the characters, have his face close to her neck? Like, what are you talking about? And this is stupid because, I've seen some people even say that she was the one who bit his lip based on the movie footage. And I haven't looked at that closely, but I'm just saying right now, these 9 unscripted kisses, it doesn't matter if they were never with teeth, because it's exactly what you said, Blake, was sexual harassment. So it sounds to me like she sexually harassed him, if that's the standard we're going by. So that's just me. All right. Let's keep going here. I do love this expert report, but I don't know if these experts are going to be included in trial or not, but we'll see. Lively alleged that Jamie Heath twice engaged in conduct that she believed was inappropriate. 1, she alleged that in May 2023, Heath entered the hair and makeup trailer where she was getting her body makeup removed. She alleged that she told him to turn and face the wall because she had no clothing on her upper body. She alleged that at some point while they were talking, Heath turned away from the wall and towards her. Right? Lively's hairdresser, Ann Carroll, held up a cutting cape so that Heath could not see Lively's naked upper body. So the cutting cape is like that big black thing that covers your whole body when you're getting your hair cut. It's not like a washcloth. She's like, here, let me cover one titty so he doesn't see it. You know what I mean? Like, she had a whole fucking gown over her, apparently, if we're to believe her version of events. So shut up. Like, you're not naked. I'm sorry. That's not naked. You're very much covered if you have a hair cutting cape over you. It's like, oh, here's a bib. Let me cover one titty just in case he sees it. Oh my gosh, what if the black man looks at you in the eye and gets a glimpse of your titty? You're going to be fine. You have a hair cutting cape on. Nobody knows if you have clothes on under that or not. Like, for all I know, she could have been wearing a tube top. And because she lied about the kissing scene, because she lied about the dance scene, I have no idea if she's telling the truth or not. For all I know, she could have been fully clothed underneath that stupid gown. So I don't care. All right. Lively was feeding her baby with one breast. God. Again with this. And Lively's makeup artist, Vivian Baker, put a towel over Lively's other breast so Heath could not see it. Okay, why not put the gown over everything, guys? I feel like you should sue your hairdresser and your makeup artist for not covering both your titties. Like, what is wrong with you? Not only is Jamie Heath not looking at your titties, but you got a hairdresser and a makeup artist who can't figure out with a whole ass gown how to cover both your titties at once. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm sorry. That's just stupid. like, if this man really barged into her trailer, if he really barged into her trailer and she was like naked and there was nothing around to cover her with, and he unexpectedly barged in and like stared at her breasts, that would be one thing. I would obviously be on her side with that. But like, this is like, he knocked on the door. She said, come in. He came in. There was a whole gown over her. And she's like, I'm naked. No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm sorry. But that's like, you put a whole tent over your body and you're like, I'm naked under this tent. Okay, but nobody can see through the tent. Oh my God. Jesus. Heath recalled that on May 16th, he, Baldoni, Sachs, and Jannetty approached Lively's makeup trailer to have a meeting that Lively had requested to be held in her trailer. Heath recalled hearing someone say, come in, or something similar. He recalled entering the trailer and, seeing that Lively appeared to be breastfeeding, he asked if he should come back later. He testified that Lively told him to look away, which he did. Heath described a 2 to 3 minute conversation in which they discussed when to have a meeting. Okay. Lively alleged that on May 23rd, Heath showed her a moving image of a naked woman, and that as soon as she saw the naked woman, she asked him to stop. Lively testified that Heath told her it was a video of his wife giving birth. Okay. Heath testified that he had one video of the day of his child's birth on his phone. That video does not depict the actual birth, but instead depicts the baby covered by a cloth lying on the mother's chest. The video is quite dark. Heath is seated behind his wife. His wife's bare shoulders are visible, but no nudity is visible in the first 20 or more seconds of the video. And it's undisputed by Lively even that she only saw a second or more of that, right? She only saw a couple seconds of that. She was like, oh my God, no, porn. She saw a baby and she was like, porn. Like, come on, lady. I don't know what you and your husband do when you give birth to your children, but like, Lively contracted COVID and was away from production from May 26 to May 31, 2023. On June 1, there was a meeting in Lively's trailer in which some of the above incidents involving Baldoni and Heath were discussed. Lively, Heath, and Sachs, one of the film's producers, were in attendance. Jannetty testified that during the June 1 meeting, Heath apologized and Lively made clear that her privacy was important and that Heath should not enter her trailer. Okay. Jannetty believed that the situation had been addressed by the June 1 meeting. In her complaint and in her deposition, Lively did not identify additional conduct by Heath after the June 1 meeting that she found inappropriate. Sounds like it was dealt with. The additional explicit scenes were not included after Lively opposed them. Lively alleged that Baldoni added additional scenes with gratuitous sexual elements to scenes after she agreed to take on the role. Lively told Baldoni she opposed the addition of the elements and conceded that the scenes were modified as a result of her concerns. And this was a stupid thing that she put in there just for inflammatory complaining, which was that he added scenes with gratuitous sexual content because she knew that Sony asked them to sex up the movie. Like, sex up the movie, right? Sony was like, we need more hot, tasteful sex in this. And so Baldoni tried to add that to the script. And when Lively saw it and was like, no, I don't want to do that, they said, okay, cut this out. So what's your problem? You got what you wanted. There was no nudity or simulated sex during phase 1 of production, which is when all the complaints took place, by the way. SAG-AFTRA guidelines suggest that intimacy coordinators be hired in scenes involving nudity or simulated sex upon requests in other intimate or hyper-exposed scenes. Or upon request, right. Okay. SAG-AFTRA guidelines suggest a closed set when filming scenes involving nudity or simulated sex. Elizabeth Lizzie Talbot was hired to be the intimacy coordinator for the film and served as the intimacy coordinator for phase 1. Talbot was hired in April of 2023, well in advance of the start of production. Lively was asked if she wanted to speak with Talbot about the nudity scenes as they were being written during pre-production, but said it was not necessary. So she said no. She said, no, I don't want to meet with her. There were no scenes involving nudity or simulated sex during phase 1 of the production. Talbot reviewed the script and identified scenes that might require a nudity writer. Talbot requested Baldoni describe what would be in those scenes to propose to Lively, which he did. Talbot met with Lively to review Baldoni's proposal regarding nudity and intimate scenes for purposes of memorializing them in a nudity writer. In early May 2023, Talbot had a phone call with Lively and her lawyer, Lindsay Strasberg, regarding the language of the nudity writer. Lively's team continued to negotiate the writer during phase 1. She was therefore aware of the terms of the nudity rider. In June 2023, Wayfarer's attorney sent Lively's attorney the final SAG-approved nudity rider that Lively had negotiated. Lively and her team delayed signing, shocker, the nudity rider. Despite multiple requests and ongoing requests by Wayfarer's lawyers, Lively did not sign it. A nudity rider is not required for birthing scenes if there is no nudity. SAG defines nudity as anything that can be seen under a bikini. And we read the intimacy coordinator on this channel a couple months ago, read the intimacy coordinator's deposition where they talked about this. And it's very clear, like, she was wearing no less than what you would see on a beach in America. Like, that's not a fully clothed, like, not a nude beach, a regular beach where you go and you have to wear a swimsuit. There was definitely no less there than what, she was wearing. She was definitely not wearing any less than that. Let's put it that way. There is no such thing as... Okay. So the intimacy coordinator, they're quoting here, says they're not quoting, they're paraphrasing what she said here, and they cite to her deposition. It says, there is no such thing as implied nudity or partial nudity with respect to SAG guidelines, and no nudity rider is required in such circumstances. Oh, that's awkward. Okay. The scene of Lily Bloom giving birth did not involve nudity. Lively was wearing a heavy prosthetic belly, okay, a hospital gown, and black shorts or a black underwear, which can be seen in the behind-the-scenes video of the scene. Right. And then we get to her opinions. It says, Robbins, which is Lively's expert Robbins, right, incorrectly concludes that Wayfarer failed in its obligations regarding Lively's complaints. It says Wayfarer lived up to its obligations of preventing and correcting unwanted behavior. Right? And then this expert says the purpose of an investigation is to find facts. Here, Wayfarer did not dispute the facts that were alleged and instead took action to ensure that any of the alleged unwanted conduct and comments did not recur. Even if Wayfarer had conducted an investigation, the corrective action would not have changed. Wayfarer lived up to its legal obligation because it ensured that the unwanted conduct did not recur. Right. And she also, and this footnote is important here. It says, this is not to say that Wayfarer concedes Lively's allegations are true, but instead that they took actions assuming the facts to be true. So even though what she was saying was fucking stupid, they still took action assuming that what she was saying was true. So she literally got everything that she deserved in, like, getting the workplace to adjust to her complaints. So even if her complaints were true, they fixed everything that she was complaining about. So, like, what else do you need? You don't deserve hundreds of millions of dollars for that. Okay? You deserve a safe workplace, assuming that your complaint is true. And that's exactly what they gave her. She got everything that she deserved in that regard, which was, overprotection. Adjustment to meet her needs, even if her needs were unreasonable. She got that. And she's still like, give me hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm a special women's rights hero. I'm a pioneer for women. Even though I lied about being kissed. And a man talked to me about his circumcised penis. I did start the conversation, but who cares about that? Give me money. The rent is due and I want to live next to Taylor Swift still. Give me money. All right, let's keep going here. Ultimately, an employer is required to prevent and correct unlawful behavior. Specifically, the CRD, which is California Civil Rights Department, right? Guide states, to meet this obligation, an employer should address misconduct, even if it does not rise to the level of a policy or legal violation. Stopping unwanted behavior, even when it is not yet serious enough to violate the law, prevents it from progressing further. And that's what they did. Wayfarer took steps to prevent the complained of conduct from recurring at the time it received the complaints. Wayfarer again took action to prevent the complained of conduct from recurring when, in November 2023, it agreed to the 17-point rider that Lively demanded. On November 9th, while filming remained stayed due to the strikes, Wayfarer received an email from Strasbourg, Lively's attorney, stating Lively was willing to forgo a more formal HR process in favor of everyone returning to work and finishing the film as long as the set is safe moving forward. Okay. With the November 9th, 2023 email, Lively's counsel presented a list of 17 protections for return to production allegedly intended to remedy the misconduct that Ms. Lively and others had reported earlier that year. The protections did not identify any act of alleged discrimination or harassment, but rather included certain conditions, including the hiring of a new producer, the presence of a Sony rep on set, and an all-hands meeting before the resumption of filming, and a prohibition against broadly defined harassment and retaliation. Okay. Lively and her counsel threatened Wayfarer and Sony that Lively would not return to complete the film unless it ends with us movie accepted the protections. Wayfarer and Sony did accept the protections, and production resumed on January 5th. Phase 2 proceeded without unwanted conduct. Therefore, an investigation would have been superfluous. Okay. So if I said the unwanted conduct, if I were Blake Lively and I said the unwanted conduct were the director saying I looked pretty in the dress I was supposed to wear as my character, like, oh, you look great. You look good. This is going to be a good scene. The wardrobe looks great on you. And she was like, that's harassment. Okay, that's still, by her definition, unwanted conduct. So they're not agreeing that that was illegal conduct. They're just saying, okay, we won't do that anymore because we want you to feel safe and we want to be able to move forward in a way that's collaborative and that nobody feels uncomfortable. So even if she's being unreasonable or ridiculous, we'll still move forward that way. And that's what she got. That's what she wanted. So. Even if Wayfarer had investigated Lively's complaints, the preponderance of the evidence standard would have led to a finding that most of the alleged conduct did not occur, at least in the form that Lively alleged. The standard that an investigator must apply when finding facts is whether a preponderance of the evidence supports a finding that the alleged conduct occurred or did not occur. Okay. Lively complained that Baldoni commented that she looked sexy and hot in a onesie. I'm sorry, that never gets any less stupid. Which was part of the wardrobe. Baldoni was the director of the film, and Lively conceded that he said on other occasions that scenes and characters' wardrobes needed to be sexy or hot. Lively did not find these comments to be inappropriate. Well, then what the fuck? I'm sorry. Lively conceded he said on other occasions that scenes and characters' wardrobes were sexy and hot, and that was not inappropriate. Oh, okay. This lady makes my fucking head hurt. Lively conceded that she used the word sexy regarding characters or scenes in the film. And we haven't seen all of Blake Lively's deposition. She won't let us. But, apparently she said these things, conceded to these things. All right. Baldoni wanted to make a movie that was sexy, which Lively knew well. Prior to accepting the role, she read the script and knew the story focused on DV, and the film would include sexual content. When Lively signed on to the film, the intent was to make an R-rated film, per the agreement with Sony. Prior to the commencement of filming, an actor's loan-out agreement for Lively's acting services was negotiated. The loan-out agreement includes an acknowledgement by Lively that the film would include sexual content, including simulated sexual activity, and might be R-rated based on strong sexual violent content. Lively signed on to an R-rated film, then required scenes be taken out to make it PG-13. Because I forgot, these people were going for an R-rated audience where it would have performed the best. And she was like, no, we're going to make this a PG-13 movie. Which is fine if you sign on in the first place for a PG-13 movie. But, like, what the fuck, bro? Thank you, CMBBY, for reminding people, help Lauren to get New York to report on the trial at the fundraiser link here. That's the Give, Send, Go link, guys, to the fundraiser for me to go report on the trial. Like I've said before, I'm not a lawyer. I cannot give you insight into the complex legal issues that are at hand, but this is a jury trial. It's going to happen in front of a jury, so I can tell you how I'm reacting to what the lawyers and to what the people on the stand are saying, how the jury might be responding to it, how it comes across, and so I will be there for as long as I can. It's expensive to be in New York for the 15 business days that the judge mentioned they were expecting, but hopefully he'll put a time limit on it, so it'll only be a couple of weeks. We'll see. But I will be there if and when possible, at least for a couple of weeks. So if you can, if you have extra money and you want to help out and want to see me report back on that, please do. Just go to that fundraiser there. Ricardo Holt, thank you for the $2. Hi, Miss Lauren. Hi, lovelies. Hello. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. I need Lauren to say, hey, girl, to Blake. I'm not saying a damn word to Blake. Let me tell you that much. Because that lady tried to get my location data from before I ever talked about her case on YouTube. She tried to get my credit card numbers. She tried to get my, bank account information. She tried to get my login information, all kinds of stuff. And I said this when I saw this on Reddit the other day about the subpoena. Like, why did they withdraw the subpoena to Shasti Flaw if they were looking for information about whether or not Tag boosted certain videos that made Lively look unfavorable? And I said, the things that she asked for in the subpoena don't even line up with her case. That's why it's so transparent that she was doing it to intimidate us. It's like, she asked for credit card numbers. You use your credit card to buy stuff. I use my credit card to buy stuff. I don't use it to get payments. So why do you want my credit card number? You know what I mean? Like stupid shit like that. Yeah. So no, I would never say a goddamn thing to Blake. I have no interest in harassing Blake. Expressing strong negative opinions about Blake on my own social media pages or platforms is not harassment. But I would never be saying a goddamn word to her. So if she hears me say, hey, girl, Blake, it's because she's watching my YouTube videos, which apparently she and her husband might be. I don't know. But it is what it is. So, all right. Let's move on here. Lively cannot have it both ways. She cannot say that the comments were appropriate when addressed to or about others, but not appropriate when addressed to or about her. She knew that the movie was a sexy one and was intended to be R-rated. It defies credulity that she would find a comment about her wardrobe to be inappropriate. For this reason, a preponderance of the evidence would not sustain this allegation. Similarly, Slate complained that Baldoni commented that she looked sexy in part of her wardrobe. As in the instance with Lively, Baldoni was the director and was talking about a character in wardrobe. For the same reasons that applied to Lively's allegation, a preponderance of the evidence would not sustain Slate's allegation. Yeah, this is not going to play well in front of a jury. This is going to be a mess. A hot fucking mess. Like, oh my God. Okay. Lively's allegation that Baldoni acted inappropriately during the filming of the show slow dance scene is contradicted by the video of the scene, which includes the entirety of the filming of the scene. The video shows that Lively's allegations are in fact unsupported, and that she engaged in the same or similar conduct that she alleges Baldoni did. In addition, Lively's allegation that she was not comfortable with Baldoni kissing her is undercut by the fact that Lively, on multiple occasions, initiated unscripted kisses of Baldoni. For these reasons, her allegation that Baldoni acted inappropriately during the filming of the slow dance scene would not be sustained by a preponderance of the evidence. Lively's allegation that Heath saw her naked breasts when he entered her trailer to speak to her was contradicted by the recollections of her hairdresser, Carol, who recalled holding a cutting cape up so Heath could not see Lively, and of Baker, who recalled putting a towel over the breast that was not breastfeeding. Heath's own recollection of the interaction also contradicted Lively's account. Heath recalled that he looked away from Lively as she requested he do, and that he did not look at her during the brief 2 to 3 minute meeting. Lively's allegation that Heath showed her a video of his wife giving birth is contradicted not only by Heath's testimony, but also, and perhaps more importantly, by the video itself. The only video that Heath had on his phone is the one that depicts his wife and him in a tub with their bare shoulders visible. Whew, shoulders visible. I mean, bare shoulders visible being porn is pretty consistent with the lady who thinks that she was naked when she was covered by a gown and full-fledged underpants or shorts. Like that's very consistent with this lady's opinions. I'll give her that. Okay. All right. And with a newborn baby on his wife's chest covered in a small towel. Lively said that she told him to stop the video almost immediately, and there was no nudity in the first part of the video, which is the only part she might have seen. Okay. Robbins, who is Lively's expert, incorrectly concludes that there were nudity writer and intimacy coordinator failures. Right. Robbins opines that Wayfarer should have established closed set protocols before the birthing scene. He explains he believes the scene involves simulated nudity. First, Talbot, a trained intimacy coordinator, testified that the birthing scene did not involve nudity. Second, the SAG-AFTRA intimacy guidelines apply to nudity and simulated sex. There is no mention of the concept of simulated nudity. Guys, don't make me do it again. Okay. This is simulated nudity, right? I don't have a shirt on. Maybe I have a bra on. Maybe I have nipple pasties on. Maybe I have a strapless bra. Maybe my shirt is just pulled below my chest. All right, this is simulated nudity, and it doesn't mean jack shit. Somebody call SAG-AFTRA. I need to sue somebody, okay? Because my simulated nudity is on the screen right now, and I totally didn't consent to that. I'm going to sue the webcam company or whoever. I'm not on a movie set, so it doesn't really apply, but still, this is simulated nudity. Like, I'm not naked. You just can't tell. Like, I could be naked for all you're thinking, right? But I'm like fully covered underneath the camera line. And if somebody walked in right now and walked up my stairs, well, I would be upset because why are you in my house? I live alone. But also, they wouldn't see my titties. You know what I mean? So like, it wouldn't really matter. All right, give me a second. Give me a second. All right, so now that I'm covered by my cutting cape, we can move on. The simulated nudity thing is one of the stupidest things in this whole ordeal for me. Robbins also opines that Wayfarer somehow failed to involve the intimacy coordinator or secure a nudity writer because Baldoni would improvise by adding additional sexual contact to some of the scenes after Miss Lively signed on to the movie. Okay, so writing a script is like, it's something that happens over time. They added stuff to the script. She said, no, I don't like that. They took it out. It's really not that fucking complicated. It's certainly not a federal offense. Like, I don't know what you want me to do about that. You know? She's getting her wig. I know it. No wigs. No wigs tonight. All right. Anyways. Robbins ignores Lively's own testimony that when she objected to the proposed sexual content, Baldoni modified the scenes and did not include it. Therefore, there can be no failure to involve an intimacy coordinator because the scenes never happened. Additionally, when asked whether an intimacy coordinator met with her to cover some of the scenes and asked whether she was comfortable with them or not, Lively testified that would not be standard at that point in production, in my experience in over 20 years. Although she had in fact met with the intimacy coordinator prior to production, expressed her boundaries, and negotiated her nudity writer. Honey, it's like she forgets all the dumb stuff she does. I don't even know what to say. And I get it, because I have the ADHD, so I forget dumb shit too, right? But if you're going to file a federal lawsuit, you damn well better remember. That's different. Lively also admitted she had never worked with an intimacy coordinator before this film. Oh, for fuck's sake. Ugh. God, these people, I swear to God. All right. Robbins also opines that Wayfarer somehow failed because it did not establish clear definitions of intimacy. However, the SAG-AFTRA guidelines are clear that intimacy involves nudity and simulated sex. All right, well, I did simulated nudity, but I'm not doing simulated sex for you guys. I'm sorry. I would get banned from the YouTube. In addition, intimacy coordinators, including Talbot, are trained and certified and thus know the definitions of intimacy. It is not up to a studio to create such a definition. Robbins opines that Wayfarer failed because the birthing scene was not a closed set. Once again, the birthing scene did not involve nudity. Therefore, no closed set was required. Nonetheless, at Lively's request, the set was closed. Robbins opines that that Wayfarer failed because it did not offer Lively an intimacy coordinator for the birthing scene, even though it did not involve nudity. This opinion disregards SAG's guidelines for the use of intimacy coordinators, as well as Talbot's testimony that she discussed the scenes with Lively, and Lively did not request an intimacy coordinator for the birthing scene. And she keeps like freaking out about them not giving her an intimacy coordinator. It's like, lady, all you had to do is snap your fucking fingers or put it in your 17-point list, and they would have done so. What's wrong with you? Oh my God. All right. Robbins misapprehends the role of an intimacy coordinator and the guidelines that apply to the use of intimacy coordinators. He also ignores or misunderstands the testimony of Talbot, the intimacy coordinator who worked on phase 1 of the production. His opinions, which are based on his misunderstanding of the facts, are incorrect. All right. Robbins incorrectly concludes that reputational damage is unique to the entertainment industry. in part of his opinion that Wayfarer failed in his obligations regarding Lively's complaints. Robbins concludes that reputational damage is particularly problematic in the entertainment industry because powerful people can damage the reputation of people who depend on their reputation for future work opportunities. Let's talk about that. How about powerful people like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, through their lawyers, accusing 107 random social media users of being involved in a smear campaign at the behest of TAG, knowing that that was not true? I don't give a goddamn shit about anything you say after that, because now I know that you're full of crap and that you use your power to punish anybody who does anything you don't like. But this is stupid. Reputational damage is particularly problematic in the entertainment industry because powerful people can damage the reputation of people who depend on their reputation for future work opportunities, as Blake and Ryan are slandering Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties at every turn to every powerful Hollywood person they know, to the point of getting Justin fired or cut from his agent at WME. Again, this is not going to play well in front of a jury. Robbins ignores the numerous other industries in which people develop work opportunities based on reputation, including his own. Lawyers, including expert witnesses and investigators, develop future work opportunities based solely on reputation. So do innumerable other professionals, including doctors, architects, contractors, plumbers, electricians, therapists, consultants, and more. There simply is no support for the conclusion that actors are harmed more by reputational damage than other professionals. Conclusion: for the above reasons, my opinions are that Robbins erred in his conclusions, that Wayfarer failed in its obligation to conduct an investigation into concerns that Lively raised during the filming, because Wayfarer, Baldoni, Heath, and others took immediate action to correct and prevent conduct about which Lively complained, and therefore an investigation would have been superfluous. 2. Robbins erred in his conclusion that Wayfarer failed in his obligation to conduct an investigation because an investigation would have shown that a preponderance of the evidence did not support Lively's allegations. 3. Robbins erred in his conclusion that Wayfarer violated entertainment industry-specific intimacy protocols. And 4. Robbins erred in his conclusion that the entertainment industry is unique and that post-employment actions that affect a person's reputation can harm their future job prospects. Okay. And I would say, at least in number 3 up here and number 4 in the conclusions, the entertainment industry is unique in that post-employment actions affect a person's reputation that can harm their future job prospects. That's not unique. I mean, just look at politicians or anybody who holds a public role. Like, that's not unique to actors. What about singers? Or, well, I guess entertainment industry includes singers and whatever, but politicians and people with high-profile roles and powerful roles in society, you know what I mean? In addition to doctors, therapists, contractors, whoever. And I think I said contractors earlier when we were looking at this, but still. So I was going to go over the social media stuff as well, because I think that was hilarious also, and something else that might not play well in front of the jury, but I think I'll save it for, well, tomorrow's the pretrial conference, so if I get a chance to talk to Carol, who I know is going, or Katie, or somebody who's going, then I might just focus on that tomorrow. But Wednesday I don't want to say yet. I might have a different interview coming out. But, you know, we'll say maybe Wednesday during the day. We can go over that social media expert stuff. But if you guys want to help me out getting to trial so that I can report back on the stuff that happens in the courtroom like this, I can't give you like the full breakdown and intricacies of the law because I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you how things are playing to the jury, or how things might be playing to the jury, how they're presented, what I think. And despite all my comments tonight, I do try to give a fair shake to Lively's attorneys when they put these things out there. There have been times when I agreed that the Wayfarer side did not do the best job, and I try to be fair about that. And I also try to be fair to when the judge is being strict to the law, and I think it makes sense that the Wayfarer parties get ruled against. But I also won't lie to you. I'm very biased towards the Wayfarer side. So that is what it is. All right, guys. If you want to help me get to New York so I can report back on that and attend the trial, I'm putting one more time the fundraiser link in the chat here, and I'll also post it when the video is done here. I'll pin it to the top of the comments. I would appreciate that very much, any help you can give. And okay, give me 1 second. And if I don't use it for this trial, if something happens and it gets canceled or they settle and it doesn't go to trial, I'll use this for the Jones trial. And then after that, I will use this for charity. If it doesn't go to Jones trial, we'll figure out something to where I can make it fun though, to where, maybe Omar and I can have a contest again to see which charity gets like 60% of the donations and which charity gets 40%. So we'll do something fun with it. But at the very least, just know that if you do donate to my fundraiser, the money's going to go towards something that is related to these legal cases, or we'll do something fun with it to where we can help out some people who maybe are affected by some of the issues that you see in this case, like domestic violence victims, etc. So we'll do something about that. There is some money that I've used already for the first week or so that I can't get back, but as far as what's left, we'll see. All right. I'm thinking my keyboard's messed up. Hang on. What the hell's going on here? Maybe I can direct you to somebody else who's talking about this stuff, but I have to unplug and replug this real quick. I changed my setup, so I'm kind of messed up now. As far as like which is plugged into which. I think I got it now. Yep, there we go. Now it's working. All right. Copy that. I'm going to put it in the chat. Let's see. There we go. And let me see. Who can I send you guys to right now? See who's streaming. In case there's anything else interesting on this subject happening at the moment. And custom. The problem is some people don't have their redirect turned on, so that sucks. Let me send you over to. Let's go to Defense Diaries. Those guys are good. Tell Defense Diaries that I sent you over to them if you go over to watch. And have a nice night, guys. I will see you again tomorrow at some point. Like I said, I'll talk to Carol or whoever's going. I don't know if because I know Little Girl Attorney and Not Actually Golden and them all went to the last hearing that I was at, but I don't know if they're going to this one. I saw that Katie, Carol, Teresa are going, and maybe Clark, but I think he might not be going. So yeah, we'll see. And if anybody else is going, you guys can let me know in the comments so we can talk to them. But all right, thanks everyone. Bye.